bunch of guys? Did they eventually buy in, or what happened?
There's a lot of there's a combination of a lot of things, John. First of all, you got to think big picture, and the fact that Lute Olson had done such a good job here getting the program developed in all ways. George Raveling comes in and builds on that and brings in some great recruiting classes. And so now I come in and I inherit, number one, a real good solid program, great leadership from Bump Elliott, Luke's influence, and then George is great. George is one of the great recruiters in the country. The other thing was that I had three seniors on the team, not of which were considered our best players. Gary Wright, Brad Lohaus, Kevin Gamble. No, they turned out to be terrific players, but people thought it was the sophomores, Roy Marble, Eddie Horton, and B.J. Armstrong were going to lead the team. And here it turns out these three seniors are pretty talented. So the egos meshed really, really well on that team, partially because of the character of the seniors and partially because of these three sophomores were just coming into their own, in particular BJ, who people did not expect quite that much from.
Yeah.
So it was, and there were other things too, John, in addition to there being pretty coachable guys, and that means a lot in this profession.
That was the first year of the three-point shot in college basketball. Did you emphasize it? Did you look at it much? Or how did this team do with the three-point shot?
You know, I wasn't sure how good we would be. The only guy that really had looked like he was a proven three-point shooter was Jeff Moe. Other than that, you never would have thought Kevin Gamble. Brad Lohaus hadn't played, so who would have thought he was going to be a three-point threat? And BJ hadn't played a lot his freshman year, and so, but as it turns out, BJ, Brad Lohaus, Kevin Gamble, you know, we had some guys step up and become really good three-point shooters. I think a lot of that came as the year went on, and they got confidence. And when you're coming from behind, you have more confidence shooting a three, and when you're playing with a big lead, you have confidence shooting a three, and that was true of a lot of those games that year.
You talk about the importance of being able to come back and see all the former staff and players.
You know, it's funny, the players too, you're thinking not only the scholarship guys, but the walk-ons. We had 5 or 6 really good walk-ons on that team, and to see them last night, the managers, you know, people don't, on the outside, don't realize how important the managers are to your program. You know, John Streep, the trainer, Doc Johnson, Lloyd Bender was a photographer. People like that mean so much. Your office personnel, Shelley and Pam right now in the basketball office, those people mean so much in terms of your development of a program, or you're having a good year even. And so I was surrounded by some really talented people off the court as well as on the court. So to see a lot of them here last night at the reception and then again today means a lot to me.
What went through your mind when you were walking in here this morning?
It was snowing, you know. No, I don't know. I look forward to it, you know, seeing the players. You know, it's something I'd been away from for a while in terms of this coaching at Drake. You know, one of the beauties of being at Drake was that nobody thought we could be any good, and so there was not a lot of attention to the program, and so you're pretty much building it in a vacuum. You know, it was just you and the people there and the close-knit few. Whereas here, when I took this job in that state television network, let alone the state radio, you know, networks, and the number of people covering this game from the media, it was bigger. Some of you were around then, and it was bigger then than it is now. I'm pretty sure, like when we'd have media day at the beginning of the year, I don't remember, it'd be nothing to have like 100 media members there. They'd come from all corners of the state, every little weekly paper, daily paper, of which there were a lot more then, radio stations. That was big to be able to come in and cover the Hawkeyes. So all those things you think of when you come back, of what this job was like in 1986, and of course what it's like today.
How would you talk about the state of the program now?
Well, I think they're on the right track. I think Coach McCaffrey is well prepared to do this job, and I like what he says and what he does and the way they're playing. They need more players. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This league, I was just telling Bob Brooks that I'm not so sure that this league is better today than it's been any year since maybe 86, 87. That it went through a little down period in the early 90s due to some academic issues and some things affecting the whole league, as well as individual schools. But we had some great coaches in the league in '86, '87, and you got great coaches in the league today, and you've got a lot of good, talented basketball guys. If you look back, I don't have the numbers, but if you look back 7, 8, 9 years ago, the number of Big Ten players going into the NBA and how high they were drafted, you'll see it's no comparison to what you see today or what you saw in '86, '87. You know, we had some guys that were drafted, but we weren't alone. Indiana did, Purdue did, and Illinois did, and you know, the rosters were stacked from top to bottom if you look at those numbers. And I think you're seeing that. So the Big Ten's tough today. So it's tough on Coach McCaffrey. It's tough on Penn State and Coach Chambers. Tough on Nebraska. Tough on the teams that are, you know, trying to get themselves elevated to that top division. So pretty strong league, and I think the fans appreciate it because the media have been talking about it a lot.
Can you talk a little bit about what your relationship has been like with the three coaches that have been here since then, if you've had any relationship with them?
You know, it's been good with all of them. I didn't get to know Coach Elford real well, but I'd known of him. Of course, coached against him when he was playing, and so we got along fine. We just, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. I got closer to Coach Licklider, that he would call me and say, let's go to lunch and let's talk. And the two of us connected as individuals, you know, talked about our sons and what they were doing. He had a son who was considering coaching and how should he handle it and stuff like that. And I think the same thing too with McCaffrey. I think the longer he's here, I think he's somebody that, I mean, we've gotten together, we've had lunch a couple times and visited with the staff, and having Ryan Bowen on the staff, you know, Kurt Sparaz's in-laws are my neighbors and family and stuff like that. So it's been good, and I've been supportive, and Mr. Barta knows that. You know, I'm here to help in any way I can, and that's why I think this event is really a good event. I think it'll connect some of the players from our eras of the 13 years that I was at Iowa, but also Coach Elford's guys and Coach Licklider's guys that try to get some of these guys closer to what Iowa, because Iowa needs that, and hope this will help.